Well, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you're celebrating. Today is Christmas Day, and we are here back in the kitchen to cook up some fantastic Christmas lunch, late lunch, as we just had late breakfast today. So today we have a very traditional German Christmas dish that we want to make. One of them is a red cabbage. You can do a fresh red cabbage, which I always do. It's pretty easy. Get yourself a little cabbage like this, chop it up in little strings, wash it, and then just cook it. The key really for good red cabbage is a long time of simmering and cooking under a very low heat. I always add just about an apple peeled and just cut into like small pieces. After like cooking 3, 4, 5 hours, the apple will just disappear. I started with my red cabbage yesterday, so I'm just like slowly heating it up now again. That gives it a nice flavor. I add a shallot or an onion, just quarter that and put that into the red cabbage as well. And when you're done, you'll take that out. And then we're gonna make some fantastic Züri Geschnetzeltes, which basically is a chicken strips or wheel strips, the original recipe, with a nice white wine, creamy white sauce. I'm using today these soy-based chicken strips. Those are pretty good. You can either use these, or now there's also fantastic pea-based chicken strips, chicken-like strips, and they're just great. Take them out. We're gonna get some seasoning on that, just a little bit of paprika, some salt and pepper, and a little bit of oil, so that we already have that seasoned. That's gonna be cooked in the pan. We're gonna get some nice heat on that, and we're gonna use about 1.5 shallots to give it some flavor. And then we're gonna kind of add a minimum of 1 liter of some vegetable broth. Before we do that, really important step, almost forgot, some white wine. We're gonna add a glass of white wine. Use a dry white wine, not too fruity, and throw that in there. And then after that, we're gonna put the stock on it, and we're gonna add some oat milk to give it a nice creamy flavor. And at the end, we're gonna give the sauce some. We're gonna use a little bit of flour again to bind the sauce and get the thickness into the sauce. And we're gonna finish it up with some plant-based butter. And then we're gonna have some potato dumplings. We're gonna make some our own, but of course, if you don't want to do the potato dumplings or the red cabbage, because you want to have a bit more time with the family and relax a bit more, not a problem at all. There's a great brand called Quorn. I'll post a picture of that, or I'll write that in the recipe. It's a German brand. They have fantastic red cabbage in the glass. All you have to do there is add a little bit of apple and some onion. Also cook that for a very long time, like at least 2 hours or so on a very minimum heat. And you're just gonna add a piece of the plant-based butter at the end, and it's a fantastic red cabbage out of the glass, great. And for the potato dumplings, you can also use the ready to cook ones like these. These are from Naturli, which is a brand in Germany, Switzerland, and I think in Austria. You can find that pretty much in every good supermarket. well, these are absolutely fine. I mean, there's nothing in this other than some, yeah, potatoes, potato starch, salt, onion, and curcuma. That's pretty much it. So obviously no eggs, no milk, nothing from the animals in this. Get some flavor to the chicken, salt, and add some pepper. I have about like 400 grams of the chicken there. Should be just fine for 2 to 3 people. Just use more if you're more people. Add about, I'm adding like 4 to 5 teaspoons of paprika. Put some oil on this, just some regular plant-based oil to give this some nice flavoring. There you go. Like that. Like oil is always, you can use sunflower seed oil, which is great. You can use olive oil, you can use the buttered flavor oil. So we're gonna just mix this up so that we have everywhere some of the spices, and it's gonna look like that. It's like turning a little reddish. In the meantime, we're gonna cut the onions. So it's important to get those really fine. You can add some mushrooms, like some button mushrooms, to the whole sauce while you're doing that. It's also really nice, but you don't have to. We're gonna open up our bottle of wine because we need that to extinguish the heat just in a little bit. And we'll just take a good glass because we want to have lots of sauce. It's going to be important to have lots of sauce. And we have our hot water. Can already pour in like a good liter minimum of the broth, the vegetable broth. Just mix that up. There you go. Alright. So we're gonna throw in the onion. Cook that for about like 1 or 2 minutes. So I'm gonna have these in there. Get some good heat on this. Alright, so just about like after 5 minutes or so, you see how nice the chicken is starting to get brown. And so chicken is looking great. Meantime, I'm going to heat up the other pot that we have over there. Take the wine, pour that nicely in there. So good. Like, this is a really important step. Put the white wine in there, all the little nice flavor that's like kind of like sticking to the pan is gonna get all it's gonna get all caramelized, and it just loosens up from the bottom. And this is really what gives the sauce the fantastic flavor later. In the meantime, we'll start to put in the broth over here. Start with a liter. It should be fine, shouldn't be too bad. We're going to concentrate on the sauce over there now. So usually what you could do when, well, what you would be doing if this is meat, you would have to cook it for a while so it gets nice and tender and soft. we're not gonna do that with soy boys chicken because it's just not like made for that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna like start the creamy sauce in the other pot, and then at the end, when the sauce is pretty much ready, thickened up and everything, we're gonna add our chicken in there, and it's just gonna give the flavor. And then we're gonna have a fantastic sauce mixed with the chicken. The chicken's gonna be just right, and then we can turn the heat off over there and have a fantastic great sauce. Let's add about half a liter of the oat milk, and then we're gonna need some flour as well. Just some regular flour, nothing special. Regular flour. I have white flour here. And just gonna add in the so we have now about 1.5 liters of sauce, and once this is thickened, we can still add either some broth or we can add a bit more of the oat milk, and then you know we should be fine with in terms of sauce. So you're gonna take a little bit of flour. There's not really an exact measurement I can give you on this. Start off with maybe like 2 tablespoons and stir it in, make sure it's all stirred in, and then you might need to add a little bit more to get the sauce thickened. But just give it some time, wait a little bit, because you won't see it exactly right away. So I'm gonna start with 2 good tablespoons, and you're gonna start stirring these in, and then while this is cooking, it's gonna start to thicken up. And I want to get the sauce today very nice and creamy, so I love to take one of the mixers here and also give it some more. All right, so we see the sauce, the white sauce is really nice and creamy and foamy now. And we're gonna add our chicken into the mix now. We're just gonna stir that up, and then we're actually ready with that. Can put down the heat. Sauce is nice and thick. I ended up adding maybe like 3 tablespoons. I don't want it to be too thick. We can take off the heat now. Take our pan and pour in the chicken here. And don't forget all the nice juices in there. And we're just gonna have this boil up quickly one last time, and then we're gonna turn off the heat, put a lid on, and let the whole thing sit for a little bit. And then at the end, if you feel like it, you can also just add a piece of the vegan butter. You don't have to. Now, this is like fantastic. It's getting a little, the red flavor is adding to the sauce, and it's becoming like really light brown, pinkish. Just fantastic. So I'm going to show you that, and then we're ready with that. We'll be back in a second to show you how to finish off the rest, and how it's all going to look then on the plate, and how it's going to taste. Merry Christmas, bon appetit, our final Christmas dinner, Züri Geschnetzeltes with potato dumplings and red cabbage. Bon appetit.